And 9/11 is normally a solemn day of remembrance, yet this morning CNN took the opportunity to hit Trump and equate right-wing terror with radical Islamic terror.
There is an absence of memory about 9/11. And we've seen a president from New York float the truly awful idea of hosting the Taliban at Camp David for withdrawal talks within days of the 9/11 anniversary. But in the past year, we've also been forced to confront a growing threat from another form of violent extremism, white nationalist terrorism. Since 9/11, right-wing terrorists have killed more people in the United States than jihadist terrorists. That's according to New America.
Joining me now, Raheem Kassam, fellow at the American Principles Project. Raheem, explain what New America is, the source just cited by CNN.
So what CNN did this morning, Laura, is the perfect example of laundering information around the D.C. bubble, around the swamp. New America is a 20-year-old think tank in Washington, D.C., staffed by the same people who staff all the other think tanks, who are on all the boards of all the other think tanks, whether it's Brookings Institution and all this stuff. It's the same sort of crowds that we see. On that board is CNN's Fareed Zakaria. So you have CNN there quoting a CNN source without declaring an interest. They then go on to cite a report written by New America, which was written by another CNN employee, CNN's national security analyst, Peter Bergen. So CNN reporting on CNN is where they're getting their information from. CNN's sources, as the president always says, there are no sources for some of the things they said. Turns out the sources themselves.
Well, there's Ilhan Omar is upset. Speaking of her, Dinesh raised her. She's upset because of this idea that we should be able to check immigrants or people coming aboard, maybe asylees, refugees, their social media to obviously find out what their intent is, or maybe to get some idea of what they want to do once they come here. Heaven forbid, all these years after 9/11. This is what she said. Make no mistake. This is fascism in action. There's no guarantee that the Trump administration won't weaponize immigrants' political views against them by denying entry. Like, why should we allow someone to enter the country if they think we're an evil terrorist entity that should be brought down? Is she saying we should bring them into the country?
The US, if I tweeted the
That's
US government
fascist?
should be overthrown and returned to a monarchy, as I might tweet one day, then you would expect that when I apply for my visa, as I have done, and I've sat in front of your embassy in London and begged my case, when I sit there, should they not know that I've said that? Should they not take that into consideration before affording me the luxury of being here and living here? And just to, finalise on that, on the CNN point from earlier, because all of this stuff comes together, doesn't it? The New York Times, had an article about 160,000 birds' migratory patterns being affected, almost as if, 3,000 people dead is not enough. We've got to add birds into the mix. That will really
that'll be an acceptable tragedy.
Yeah, exactly. And then you see what the CNN is doing with all of this, and now you hear what Ilhan Omar's doing, and the fact that they gaslight they put CNN on the Chiron, they put amnesia at the bottom of the screen.
They're the ones who have amnesia.
They're the ones with the amnesia.
I didn't even know that was a Chiron, and when I said what I said, I didn't even know that was the Chiron that they used.
who are intentionally trying to steer the ordinary Americans' views away from what really happened on 9/11, and they're accusing the rest of us of having amnesia. It's disgusting.
No, it's even worse than that. The enemy is not political Islam, Islamism, radical Islam. That's not the enemy. The enemy is us, our way of life, our traditions, our patriotism, our president. That's what the enemy is. That American historical understanding. Raheem, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
We could have talked Brexit, too. All right.